Hi everyone, welcome to Mind Money Methods Markets Weekly video. So this is the last video for 2015 and we're going to be starting off with the dollar index as we normally do, but we're also going to be looking at what we're potentially going to be looking for in the first quarter of next year and how we're going to approach the quarter of next year into 2016. So having a look at the dollar index, well, for me, it's really in a range-bound market at this point in time. And the way I see it is, well, I'm looking for price to either break this 10,000 and start on an upward trend, or we're going to potentially start forming a trend back down to this level over here, where there will certainly be opportunities from the level where it is at 9.8 down to even the 9.4. So we need to see what's taking place. But first, I would like to see a clear trend in one way, upwards or downwards, to actually make a call to then be able to look at other markets, or should I say other time frames, being the lower time frames, that I can certainly be looking to place trades and potentially be making obviously money to the long side or to the upside. So my plan is to actually monitor and to look at this, what's happening with the dollar index into the first quarter. I'm looking for it to either be breaching this 10,000 either one way, obviously onto the upward side, and then we can look at levels that we can potentially make money off. If I look this down and actually give you an overall perspective, we can see where it is right now. This is obviously on the monthly chart, and it shows us all the way back to 1988, and we can see that the dollar index certainly has reached levels around 12,000 and even high up to 13,000, although a very long time ago. But it has really ranged in and around this level between the 9,000 thereabout, really since 2001, 2 or 2003 really. If we look at it over here, 2004, it's really been in this level over here, going up, down, and then between that down to the 7,000 and really the 9,000. So this is really a level where it's key. So if we break this 10,000, it hasn't done that for a very long time, it's certainly going to tell me that we're potentially going to be looking at potential dollar strength index for the first quarter on a movement to the upside. So this level over here, 10,000, over here on my charts and on your charts probably could be 10,000 or 100,000. It really is a big level, and it's something that I'm certainly going to be keeping my eye out on for the 2016 year to see what the dollar index is going to be doing. So obviously we will be looking at other related currencies on that, and one of the related currencies is the British pound to the US dollar. And if we look at that, the British pound to the US dollar, I have spoken on quite a few videos that there were times that I was just not interested because of the big movements and the big candles in the market, and that is not a market I want to be trading, because it's more like, for me, like gambling, where you could just get stopped out so easily. But obviously I like to look at the smaller candles. It just means more liquidity, a little bit better in terms of less risk, because you've got better protection and you can technically protect yourself a little bit better and just put your trades in and make more sense of what's happening in that market. So if I look at this, the British pound has definitely been on a downward trend for a good part of the last few weeks, months, and it's, if we go look at the weekly chart, it's been doing that, and potentially for it to continue falling, that is certainly the case. However, I need to look at this level over here that if we actually look at, actually it's better to see it on the monthly chart. If we look at this level over here, look at over the time from 1986 to now where we are in coming up to 2016, the end of 2015, is it's been more on the from the 1.5 upwards than it has been 1.5 downwards. So 1.5 being a level, obviously quite a key level. So my plan for the first quarter of 2016 is to certainly monitor this to see which way the British pound to the US dollar is going to go. I'm not going to say the word obviously, but if the dollar index continues its strength, potentially the British pound is going to lose its value to the US dollar. So therefore it would continue a fall to the downside above this market, and it certainly is possible. So this is really now at a level where I'm going to be keeping a keen interest to see which way the pound is. Now if it was going to fall downwards, I would want to see it potentially pull back And this could then form a level of resistance and the pound could be going. But if it forms back up above this 1.5, potentially it's going to be forming the level of resistance. That price will then move on upwards. But that's also seeing where the actual dollar index is going to be going and going. So I'm going to be looking at both these markets quite a lot in the first quarter of next year. And there are other related currencies to the British pound that I will certainly, to the US dollar that I certainly will be looking at. But this is just a topic that, as it's to try and keep this video as short as possible, one of the currencies that I'll be looking at. But the reason why is because of this key level over here, and to see where it's going to go. So my plan would be to look at the lower time frames and to see if I've got any trading opportunities, obviously to the upside or to the downside, depending if it breaks this key level at 1.5. So that's what I'm looking at when it comes to the British pound to the US dollar. If we go look at another big one over here, is the Brent crude. Now we do know that we've had some serious sell-off over the whole of 2015, and one of the things is I'm going to be continuously looking for opportunities to the short side on this market, because the way I'm looking at it is we certainly in downtrends across mostly all my time frames and other time frames, but I will look at this into the first quarter and see where we've come and what we're doing. Probably if I were going to make a prediction, which I don't like to do, but if I were going to make a prediction, I would say over the period of 2016 that Brent crude is actually going to continue its downfall, probably even close to maybe potentially $20 a barrel. I know that's a big call, but I see it as that there is no indication right now of it coming back to strengthen. It could have a pullback over obviously 2016, but overall potentially going down to close to the $20-25 odd dollars a barrel. So certainly for Brent crude, I mean, and the reason I say that is just because, like I've said, is we've passed this level over here. It's potentially it's falling down, pull back. So I will be looking to see if it's going to continue on the fall, and that's the indication across multiple time frames. Even if I went into my low time frames, I am seeing definite Brent crude oil weakness. So it's definitely a market I'm going to be looking at into the first quarter, because I've made some really decent money off Brent crude market this year in 2015, obviously to the short side and selling. So I would be continuously for myself looking as a part of my trading plan, as looking as potentially selling off and making a further profit into 2016 into the first quarter. So that is what another chart that I'm going to be looking at for 2016 is Brent crude, and seeing that it's potentially going to continue its fall. Obviously we have to have a look at all the time frames. There must be an agreement. We must have entry points and exit points, and we must know what we're doing before we just go and thumb suck and just start entering into the market. So having said that, if I go look at another one over here is gold. And right now, if I look at gold, there's been once again a strong sell-off over the period of 2015. If you can look at that over there all the way down, we've definitely been a nice downtrend. That's been another market, another commodity that's been on a good downtrend for the good period of 2015. Now we are at a level over here of consolidation if we look at on the daily chart. So it's certainly a market that I'm going to be looking at as a commodity, to be looking at where we're going to be going. Now if I look at this, we're very close to a level of parity here on this particular spot gold chart that I've got open, and it's a level of parity close to. We'll have to see, is it going to bounce off that level of parity and then move its way up? We have to have our multiple time frames in agreement and all our checklists in agreement, which we at Mind Money Method give you as part of our trading courses, and we will work with you on that to help you even set your own checklists up. That's not an issue or a problem. But going back to this, I'll certainly be looking, because there's such room for this gold to continue its fall over the why technically, obviously there are fundamentals to it, but technically there's no reason why it can't continue its fall. So from a technical perspective only, there's no reason why it can't continue its fall, and there could be quite a room to fall even down to the 800 mark, and there certainly could be money to be made overall for 2016. So this is certainly a market that I'm going to be looking, because it's in a lovely downtrend at the moment, and I've got this, as you'll notice, just purely on price action. There's no moving averages and nothing like that, because I'm keeping this chart neat and keep it simple, and that's what I'm doing with my commodity on gold, just to show you that technically you can look at a chart, look at price action only, and still make money. as long as you know what you're obviously doing and can read if there's a good trend in one way or the other. But looking at this, it is certainly looking at a downtrend across all markets, except the daily is in consolidation. So as a plan moving into first quarter, I'm going to be looking for opportunities to the short side, or potentially looking for reversal of trends going back up to the long side. So that is another market I'll be looking at. And if we go back up here and look at the opposite, really, or the other side of it, mini silver, which is obviously another commodity, the same is here. We'll probably see the similar chart. However, if we look at this, we can see at this level of this particular spot currency I've got open over here, it's got quite a little bit of a level to the parity to go, but potentially for it to continue its fall, and then once it gets to a level of parity on this chart, I would be potentially looking at potentially we could have a strong bounce off and start climbing the other way. There's certainly no doubt that that could take place. So it's another market that I will definitely be looking at. And the reason I say that is because look at this, over time, all the years, it's always been flat around this mark. So, around the 800. So it could fall to the 800, but then I'll be interested to see. But I'm looking at this level of parity over here to make an eye. So money to the downside between the 1.4 to the 1,000. Absolutely money to be made, but I'm not going to be taking any trades until the new year, because I will be closing my charts after this video, taking a break from trading, coming back refreshed, and looking forward to making some decent profits in 2016. So folks, that is really it in terms of the charts, the Brent crude, gold, silver, dollar index related currencies. Spoke about one of them being the British pound to the US dollar, other known as cable. We're also going to be looking at in the new year, potentially bringing also other types of indices into the market to start talking about other indices and discussing them as what could be potentially be happening in those markets. So we'll be introducing some new videos as well on some indices. So we'll be covering the indices, we'll be covering commodities and the forex markets and commodities. So folks, what I would like to do is wish you a fantastic new year. And this is the last video for 2015, and I look forward to speaking to you in 2016. But we'll be back the second week of January and start our free newsletters up again, because myself and most of the My Money Method team are going to be away snowboarding in the mountains. And when we're up in the mountains, we don't do any trading, and that's our time to really release, relax, and not think about anything else but keeping alive in the mountains and having a heck of a lot of fun. So we look forward to speaking to you in 2016, and look forward to in 2016 we will also be having live workshops, because we're starting to get some feedback. There are people that would like to come on our live workshop courses. And we will be holding at least 2 to 3 live workshops, and they will be in the London area. I know there are some of you who are international. We will potentially be looking to be streaming that live over a webcam. So to keep it live for you, we are looking to do that as well. So look forward to some live courses coming through into 2016, and to prove the fact that you can make money as a retail trader. Everyone, I wish you a happy new year, a Merry Christmas, keep safe, and we will speak to you in 2016. Thank you very much. Cheers.